There's a stereotype that teen parents are irresponsible, uneducated, and unsuccessful. I want to show just how untrue that is. To do that, I interviewed my mom over 2 days. I wanted to make sure we didn't leave anything out. We went into detail about everything. We spoke about everything from the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it was hard for the both of us. But it was something that needed to be done in order to fight this stereotype. Because my mom lived teen parenthood by herself for a long time, and we could have been a statistic, but we weren't because my mom made sure of it. Alright, I'm recording.
My life is not bad because I was a teen parent. My life was never terrible because of it. I'm proud of us. Yeah, we went through some hard times, but we made it. I'm Nicole Dembski. I'm 38 and I was pregnant at 16. I remember I took a test every single day for 7 days, and I was terrified to tell my parents. Every test was positive, and I forgot the wrapper in the bathroom of one of them, and walked into my room and knew then that I shouldn't take anymore because I was pregnant. My biggest fear, I don't know, I think just, well, my biggest fear was telling my parents. So then it was just the future. I was really young.
I was devastated at first because I thought her life was ruined. As a parent, you have hopes and dreams of what you think your child should be. And you quickly realize that what you think is right isn't always right for your child. It was hard.
My mom was very supportive from the get go. My mom and I have always had a good relationship, and she was seriously my biggest support through the early years, through all of the years, but especially the early years.
So, yes, we were shocked. We were shocked about that. Um, so, when we confronted Blake about that, uh, he started crying and he went into his room and laid down. And so I remember then all I could think about was Blake is my baby boy. Here he is, a junior in high school. He's got his whole life in front of him. And now he has, a baby coming. And so I went in and I bent down on my knees next to the bed. And I said, Blake, have you and Nicole talked about adoption? Because, and I know that sounded very selfish of me, but I was also thinking of Blake as my baby boy and what he would have to go through and his life ahead of him. Um, so he looked at me and he said, Mom, no, the baby is my flesh and blood. I could never give it away. So that is when we said, okay, then we will support you in what needs to be done.
So he was my first boyfriend. I mean, I was 16. So, um, he lived a very colorful, his life didn't change much. Mine did. My goals changed. You were number one in everything, and I just don't know if he quite got there. Um, By the time I got my first apartment, April 22nd, my birthday of that year, and he turned 18 a couple of months after me. Um, but by that time, we were no longer together.
I was unable to get my father's side of the story while making this documentary. It's hard to admit, but I don't think I've seen him since I was 12 years old. And I don't know why. It started as his choice, and then it became mine. And it's a reality that I've learned to live with, and one he has to live with too.
How did your school react to your pregnancy?
I didn't tell a whole lot of people, but I was told that I would not be allowed to walk with my graduating class. And I was a junior at the time, and I only needed, I think, 3 credits to graduate. But I was told I still would not be allowed to walk because it wouldn't be a good example. And I remember my mom saying, but she would have a 7-month-old and still be graduating high school. And it was a new principal, and he still said no. So I did homeschooling, did those 3 classes that I needed, and got my high school diploma. I was also very involved in church. So we went to a mega church of about 20,000 people, and we were there every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night. My parents volunteered on Thursdays. Like, we were very, very involved. My entire family, extended family, and everything was. And I was sitting on the couch one day at home, and I got a call from the youth pastor. And he said I was no longer welcome. And I understood not being allowed to go on trips and things like that, because there were a lot of trips that we would earn by doing different things in the church. And I understood that part, but not being allowed to come back at all and being judged by the people who preached to us over and over again not to judge others were the first ones to judge me.
Where should these 2 young people be that should show the most support? It should have been church. It should have been church.
We were the family that was there every Wednesday night. I worked there on Sundays. Her dad was in the choir. We were there every Sunday morning. I worked with the preschool on Sunday night, and not one person wrapped their arms around us and said, "What can we do?" And it's altered the faith of all of us in different ways. My son's never gone back to church.
And even now, like, because of that, I've had a hard time. It didn't change my beliefs, but I have not been involved in a church since then. And I to this day, I have no desire to be, because they were the first ones to judge me. I went from being a teenager to being a parent. There was no in between for me. Things changed a lot. I no longer was just taking care of myself. I had I had this little person that depended on me for everything. And so it was no longer, my choices were no longer just about me. And every decision I made was for us. So I got the keys to my first apartment the night before I turned 18. I signed my lease that morning. Got us our first apartment, just us, because I wanted you to be safe and not have to grow up how I did.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced in those early years?
Being so young and navigating how to be an adult and have a child, and that, there's supposed to be a transition there, and for me there wasn't. It was 16, pregnant, 17, having a baby. I was enrolled in college, started college, but college didn't pay the bills, so I did not finish. But I worked hard for us to have the life that we did.
I didn't know you went to college.
I did.
No,
Michaela, why are you crying?
I don't know. I didn't know you had to drop out.
I didn't have to. I could have done both, but I wanted time with you. Now, I had ample opportunity to go back, but my life took a different turn, and I don't regret it at all. We grew up together, essentially. I had her so young that I was learning how to adult while raising a child. It's just, things happen and your life takes a different turn, but doesn't mean that it's the wrong one. And so there's a lot of things that we learned together because we were growing up together, but I still had to be the parent. My mom had her own set of challenges that, in her life, but she always, always supported me. I was still a teenager, so I may have been on my own, but I still needed guidance on a lot of things. And then your Grammy and Papa, the second they laid eyes on you, everything changed for them. And to this day, they still are the biggest support. Without the three of them, I don't know if things would have turned out for me as well as they did. I think because I had to grow up faster because I had a child, my goals changed tremendously. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to give you the life I didn't have. And I wanted to make sure that when you look back on your childhood, that it wasn't one that you had to heal from like I did. I was so terrified when I was younger that I would be by myself for the rest of my life, that I would never have that big family that I wanted. But I wish I would have known that it would work out and that everything would be okay and that I'm not a failure. And Michaela turned out to be this amazing human being. And I'm so proud of her. She always worked so hard, and I spent a lot of time worrying about how things were going to be, and everything turned out just fine. I have the life that I wanted when I was a little girl. Being a teen parent did not define me like a lot of people in my life led me to believe. I still made plenty of mistakes. I was still a kid raising a kid. So I made mistakes. There were decisions I wish I could make differently as far as how I handled things, but I don't regret anything. I do not regret having her so young. In a lot of ways, I think that my life is better because of her. And I'm so proud to be your mom.